The cabin of Brooks Airways Flight 217 hummed with the low drone of engines, the air thick with the scent of jet fuel and recycled oxygen. Overhead bins clicked shut, seatbelts snapped, and the soft glow of reading lights cast shadows on tray. Tables, Nathan Brooks, 48, CEO of Brooks Airways, settled into seat 14B, economy class, his polo shirt and jeans blending seamlessly with the crowd. No entourage, no first-class perks, no hint of the man who'd built a billion-dollar airline. From a childhood vow. Today, he was just another passenger, his sharp eyes scanning the cabin, searching for the truth behind rumors of declining service and a toxic culture festering beneath his company's polished exterior. Nathan had grown up in a Chicago working class family, his mother a janitor, his father a bus driver. At 10, he'd watched a flight attendant dismiss his mother's request for water with a sneer, her worn coat marking her as lesser in the first-class cabin's glow. That memory, etched deep, fueled Nathan's promise, a fair airline, where every passenger mattered. But recent whispers, complaints of favoritism, ignored passengers, and suppressed talent had shaken him. Executives claimed all was well, but Nathan, who'd risen from baggage handler to CEO, trusted his instincts over reports. So here he was, undercover, a fake name on his ticket, ready to see Brooks Airways through its passengers' eyes. The cabin bustled, flight attendants weaving through the aisle, their navy uniforms crisp. A businessman in first class sipped complimentary wine, while economy passengers fumbled with carry-ons. Nathan's gaze settled on row 15, where a quiet, anxious voice broke through the noise. "I should have been there sooner," a young woman murmured, her tone thick with fear. Emily Harper, 26, clutched her phone, her eyes red from crying. Her last-minute ticket, bought with borrowed money, her only way to reach her father, hospitalized after a stroke. Beside her, Thomas Bennett, a retired firefighter in his 60s, offered a steady reply. "You're doing what you can," he said, his voice warm but strained, his own hands fumbling with customs forms, a task his late wife once handled. Nathan leaned back, his chest tightening. Their pain, Emily's desperation, Thomas's quiet grief, was why he'd built Brooks Airways. If his airline was failing them, he'd failed his vow. He scribbled notes on his phone, his jaw set, when a tall, dark-haired flight attendant approached row 15. Ava Mitchell, mid-30s, moved with quiet authority, her smile genuine, unlike the rehearsed grins of her colleagues. "Ma'am, are you okay?" she asked Emily, her voice soft, noticing her red eyes. Emily hesitated, then whispered, "My dad had a stroke this morning." Most attendants would have nodded and moved on, but Ava knelt slightly, her presence a balm. "I'm so sorry," she said, adjusting Emily's seat for extra space. "Let me know if you need anything." Ava turned to Thomas, spotting his tangled forms. "Customs giving you trouble?" she asked, her smile kind. Thomas sighed, embarrassed. "My wife used to handle these. I just signed where she pointed." Ava didn't rush him. She guided him through each line, her patience unwavering. Nathan watched, a spark of hope igniting. This was the service he'd envisioned, compassion over efficiency. Ava slipped Emily a hot tea, no charge, and returned to her duties, her warmth lingering. But the moment shattered. A sharp voice cut through the cabin. "Ava, stop babysitting passengers." Claire Donovan, the senior flight attendant, late 40s, stood in the aisle, her posture stiff, her glare cold. "You're too soft," she muttered, loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. "Waste time on sob stories, and you'll never move up." Ava stiffened, her frustration veiled, but said nothing, resuming her work with a quiet breath. Nathan's fists clenched, a cold anger settling in his chest. Claire's words weren't just a jab at Ava. They were a symptom of a culture he'd let fester. Across the aisle, Margaret, A middle-aged teacher glanced at Ava, her lips parting as if to speak, but she looked away, her silence a familiar weight. Nathan recognized it bystanders who saw injustice but stayed quiet. The cabin's hum resumed, but the air felt heavier. Claire's disdain a stain on Brooks Airways' promise. A passenger's phone pinged, a social media post catching Nathan's eye. Brooks Airways charges last-minute fees and ignores economy passengers. Shameful. The post, gaining traction, mirrored Emily's struggle, amplifying Nathan's urgency. Ava continued serving, her kindness undimmed, offering a blanket to a shivering child. Claire, meanwhile, fawned over a first-class VIP, her smile plastic. Nathan's notes grew longer, his resolve hardening. Emily clutched her tea. Thomas smoothed his forms, their burdens lighter because of Ava. But Claire's sneer, the viral post, and Margaret's silence were proof his airline was failing its heart. As the plane climbed, Nathan Brooks sat still, his vow to his mother burning anew. He'd built Brooks Airways to lift people up, not let them down. This flight was just the beginning, and he'd uncover every truth, one passenger, one truth at a time. The cabin of Brooks Airways Flight 217 thrummed with the steady drone of engines, the air heavy with the faint tang of coffee and the rustle of seatbelts. Dim overhead lights cast a soft glow on tray tables, where passengers like Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett sat, their burdens lightened by Ava Mitchell's quiet kindness. Nathan Brooks, CEO of Brooks Airways, remained in seat 14B, his polo shirt and jeans masking the man who'd built an airline empire from a childhood vow. His phone glowed with notes from the flight. Ava's compassion toward Emily, a grieving daughter, and Thomas, a widowed firefighter. Claire Donovan's sharp rebuke, "You're too soft," and the viral social media post decrying Brooks' unfair fees. Nathan's jaw tightened, the sting of Claire's words echoing a betrayal of his promise. An airline where every passenger mattered. As the flight continued, Nathan watched Ava weave through the economy cabin, her navy uniform crisp, her smile genuine despite Claire's disdain. She offered a child a coloring book, checked on an elderly man's comfort, her actions fluid, instinctive. Claire, meanwhile, lingered in first class, her laughter forced as she poured wine for a VIP, her attention exclusive to wealth. The contrast burned in Nathan's chest, a reminder of his mother, dismissed by a sneering flight attendant decades ago for her worn coat and working-class roots. He'd started as a baggage handler, worked nights to earn a business degree, and convinced investors like William Carter to back Brooks Airways, a company built on fairness. Now rotting under Claire's influence. Nathan tapped his phone, adding, "Details. Claire prioritizes first class, dismisses economy. Ava's service exceptional, yet mocked." The social media post, shared by an anonymous passenger, gained traction, comments raging. Brooks ignores regular people, and last-minute fees are robbery. Emily's struggle, her costly ticket to reach her dying father, mirrored the complaints, amplifying Nathan's urgency. Margaret, the teacher across the aisle, glanced at Ava, her silence a weight Nathan recognized. Bystanders who saw injustice but stayed quiet. His mother's voice echoed, "Fix what's broken, but do it right." He wouldn't act rashly, but he did act. The plane landed in Chicago, the cabin emptying as passengers shuffled toward the terminal. Nathan lingered, watching Ava help Thomas with his bag, her patience unwavering. Claire barked orders, her radio crackling with a manager's voice. "Focus on VIPs, Claire. Economy can wait." Nathan's eyes narrowed. The toxic culture wasn't just Claire. It was systemic. He slipped into the crowd, his heart heavy but resolute. Brooks Airways was his creation, forged from his vow to his mother, and he'd uncover every flaw. Starting with Ava's treatment. At Brooks Airways headquarters, a glass skyscraper piercing Chicago's skyline, Nathan entered his 50th floor office after hours, the city's lights twinkling below. The building was quiet, only a skeleton crew working overnight, ensuring his privacy. He logged into his private system, pulling up Ava Mitchell's personnel file. The screen glowed, revealing a decade of service. Flawless passenger feedback. 0 complaints, consistently high ratings. Yet, no promotions. Nathan scrolled, his jaw tightening at multiple rejected applications, each stamped with the same note. Not leadership material. Too soft. Too soft. He'd seen Ava manage Emily's grief and Thomas's confusion with more grace than most executives. Nathan leaned back, memories flooding in. At 20, he'd worked as a gate agent, watching passengers like his mother working class overlook struggle with uncaring staff. He'd earned a scholarship to study business, climbed from baggage handler to manager, and pitched Brooks Airways to William Carter with a vision. Fairness over profit. The airline had thrived, but now Claire's sneer and Ava's stalled career were proof he'd lost sight of that vision. He dialed Henry Walsh, a retired flight supervisor, his voice low. "Henry, it's Nathan. What do you know about Ava Mitchell?" Henry's voice was groggy, the late hour evident. "Midnight calls. Ava's one of the best. Passengers adore her. Staff respect her, but she's stuck. Claire Donovan and her clique, they run the show." Nathan's grip tightened on the phone. "What show?" Henry sighed. "Promotions aren't about merit. You're in with Claire's crowd, or you're out. Ava doesn't play their game, so they block her." Nathan's anger simmered, his company's integrity eroded by favoritism. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" he asked. Henry's tone was heavy. "People tried. Claire's group buries complaints." Nathan ended the call, his eyes on Ava's file. A buried complaint caught his attention, an anonymous email, forwarded to HR. "Claire erased my performance reviews. I'm being targeted." The signature was vague, but the timing aligned with Ava's. Last evaluation, 2 years ago, despite policy mandating annual reviews. Nathan's pulse quickened. Someone was hiding Ava's excellence. He texted Linda, his assistant. "Pull all complaints against Claire Donovan. Cross-check Ava's reviews." Linda's reply was swift. "On it." "Found one deleted review already." The city's skyline glittered, but Nathan's office felt cold, the weight of betrayal heavy. Claire's radio signal, the erased reviews, the social media storm, they were threads of a deeper rot. Margaret's silence on the flight mirrored the staff's fear, but Ava's kindness was a beacon. Nathan thought of his mother, her hands trembling as she faced dismissive attendants, her lessons. Anchoring him, build something better. He built Brooks Airways to break those cycles, but Claire's clique had betrayed it. As Nathan shut his laptop, the terminal's hum echoed in his mind, Emily's red eyes and Thomas's fumbling hands vivid. Ava was the heart of what his airline could be, yet she was suppressed. The board's tech stocks dipping. Fix this PR mess loomed, but Nathan's focus was clear. He'd expose the truth, starting with Claire's reign, and restore his vow, one calculated move at a time. The Chicago night stretched before him, and Nathan Brooks was ready to fight for his airline's soul. The Chicago night cloaked Brooks Airways headquarters in a shimmering veil, the glass skyscraper's lights casting a cold glow across the city's skyline. Inside, on the 50th floor, Nathan Brooks sat in his dimly lit office, the hum of his laptop the only sound breaking the silence. His polo shirt and jeans, remnants of his undercover flight, felt out of place against the executive suite's sleek decor, but his sharp eyes were fixed on Ava Mitchell's personnel file. The screen revealed a decade of flawless service, erased performance reviews, and rejected promotions, all stamped with Claire Donovan's influence. Nathan's jaw tightened. The betrayal of his airline's promise to treat every passenger and employee with fairness burning like a wound. His mother's trembling hands, dismissed by a flight attendant decades ago, fueled his resolve. Brooks Airways would not fail under his watch. Nathan's phone buzzed. Linda's text, lighting the screen, found 3 deleted reviews for Ava. Claire's name on all. More complaints buried. The anonymous email from Chapter 2 Claire erased my reviews. By being targeted echoed in his mind, its tone matching Ava's stalled career. The social media post, now viral with comments like Brooks scams regular passengers, and economy gets nothing. Added pressure, the board texting, stocks down 2%. Fix this now. Nathan's anger wasn't just at Claire. It was at himself for letting this rot fester. He'd built Brooks Airways from nothing scholarship to business school, years as a baggage handler, a pitch to William Carter that turned a failing regional carrier into a national name. Yet, Claire's clique had turned his vision into a lie. He dialed Linda, his voice low. Cross-check Claire's allies. I need names tied to Ava's rejections. Linda's reply was swift. Already on it. Found Sophia Carter, a junior attendant, filed a complaint against Claire last year. Got threatened with firing. Nathan's pulse quickened. Sophia's complaint mirrored Ava's struggle, proof the toxic culture ran deep. He remembered his mother's lesson. Fix what's broken, but know who's breaking it. Claire wasn't alone. She had a network, and Nathan needed to dismantle it. He texted his lawyer, prepare for litigation. Claire may push back. The reply was immediate. Ready. Keep evidence tight. As Nathan scrolled through file. Another email landed in his inbox, forwarded by Ava's supervisor. To Ava Mitchell, head of passenger experience. You don't belong in leadership. Step down or watch your back. No sender, no trace, but the venom was clear. Nathan's fists clenched, the threat a direct assault on Ava's rise. He forwarded it to Linda. Trace this. Priority 1. The email wasn't just a warning. It was evidence of a deeper conspiracy, one Nathan would crush. Ava's kindness on Flight 217 RT for Emily Harper. Her patience with Thomas Bennett had sparked hope. But this threat was proof. Someone wanted her silenced. His phone rang. The caller ID flashing William Carter, the billionaire investor. Nathan. William's voice was warm but urgent. I heard about your flight. That attendant, Ava Mitchell, helped a passenger I know, Thomas Bennett, firefighter. He's recommending Brooks for an exclusive travel contract with his union. Millions in revenue. Nathan exhaled, stunned. Thomas, the widower struggling with customs forms, had been moved by Ava's care. Before he could respond, Linda patched. Through another called Thomas himself. Mr. Brooks, Thomas said, his voice gruff but kind. Your attendant, Ava, made my flight bearable. My daughter's with me now, thanks to her. I'm pushing my union to choose Brooks. Nathan's chest warmed. Ava's impact undeniable. Her kindness wasn't just service, it was business. Securing deals Claire's clique could never dream of. But the email threat loomed, a shadow over her light. He thought of Emily, her red eyes fixed on her phone, praying for her father's recovery, and Margaret's silence, a bystander's choice he'd seen too often. The social media storm grew, a new post surfacing. Brooks Airways is a sham. Fired the real heroes. The tone matched Claire's sneer, hinting at her hand. Nathan's resolve hardened. He'd expose her, but not rashly. He called Henry Walsh again, the retired supervisor's voice clearer now. Henry, who else is in Claire's circle? Henry sighed. Laura Peterson, HR director, and Edward Hayes, ops manager. They've been burying complaints for years, promoting their own. Sophia got hit hard for speaking up. Nathan's eyes darkened, the pieces falling into place. Laura and Edward were the backbone of Claire's power, and Ava was their target. He remembered his early days, pitching Brooks Airways to William Carter, vowing a company where merit ruled. That vow felt distant now, but Ava's actions were its echo. Nathan stood, the city's lights a canvas of possibility. He texted Linda, "Schedule an emergency board meeting. All senior staff, HR, ops, tomorrow." The email threat, Sophia's complaint, and the deleted reviews were ammunition, but he needed more witnesses, data, proof Claire's clique couldn't dodge. He thought of his mother, her worn coat, a badge of resilience, teaching him to fight for what's right. Ava was fighting, unaware of the forces against her, and Nathan would fight for her. The terminal's hum lingered in his mind. Emily's desperation, Thomas's gratitude, Ava's quiet strength. Claire's radio signal, the viral posts, Sophia's silenced voice. They were symptoms of a rot Nathan had let grow, but no more. He'd built Brooks Airways to honor his mother's struggles, to lift passengers like Emily and Thomas, to reward employees like Ava. As the Chicago night deepened, Nathan Brooks paced his office, his plan forming, ready to confront the truth and restore his airline soul, one calculated step at a time. The Chicago dawn painted Brooks Airways headquarters in hues of amber and steel, the glass skyscraper's silhouette sharp against the waking city. On the 50th floor, Nathan Brooks paced his office, the faint hum of the city below blending with the weight of his mission. His polo shirt and jeans, relics of his undercover flight, hung loosely, but his sharp eyes burned with resolve. Ava Mitchell's personnel file lay open on his laptop, erased reviews, rejected promotions, a decade of brilliance buried by Claire Donovan's clique. The anonymous email threatening Ava stepped down, or watch your back, and Sophia Carter's silenced complaint fueled Nathan's anger. His mother's voice, steady through years of dismissal on flights for her working-class roots, anchored him. Fix what's broken, but do it right. Today, Nathan would prepare to dismantle the rot in Brooks Airways. The social media storm raged. A new post echoing the first. Brooks Airways ignores economy passengers, protects bullies. Comments piled up. Boycott Brooks. And fire the real problem. The board texting. Stocks down 3%. Meeting better deliver. Nathan's chest tightened, not just at the numbers, but at the betrayal of his vow. He'd built Brooks Airways from a baggage handler's grid, a scholarship-fueled business degree, and a pitch to William Carter that turned a failing carrier into a national name. Claire's sneer on Flight 217, dismissing Ava's kindness to Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett, was a stain on that legacy. Nathan texted Linda, his assistant. Confirm meeting. All senior staff, HR, ops, noon. Linda's reply was instant. Done. Pulling Sophia's full complaint now. Nathan opened Sophia's file, his jaw tightening. A junior flight attendant, she'd reported Claire's favoritism last year, citing ignored economy passengers and blocked promotions for non-clique members. Claire had threatened her with termination. HR's Laura Peterson signing off on the warning. The pattern was clear. Laura and Edward Hayes, operations manager, shielded Claire's reign, burying complaints and erasing reviews. Nathan's phone buzzed. Henry Walsh, the retired supervisor. Got your message, Henry said, his voice heavy. Claire's crew runs deep. Laura handles HR cover-ups. Edward pushes ops to prioritize VIPs. They've silenced dozens like Sophia. Nathan's grip tightened. Anyone else? Henry paused. Jack Sullivan, veteran pilot. He's seen it all, might talk. Nathan dialed Jack, the pilot's voice gruff but steady. Mr. Brooks, didn't expect a call from the top. Nathan cut to the chase. What do you know about Claire Donovan's clique? Jack exhaled. They've been rigging promotions for years. Ava's the best attendant we've got, but Claire's group Laura, Edward block her. I saw Sophia get crushed for speaking out. Nathan's eyes darkened. Will you back me up? Jack's tone hardened. Yeah, I'm done watching good people get screwed. Nathan nodded, a silent pact forming. Jack's testimony, Sophia's complaint, and Ava's file were weapons, but he needed more. He texted Margaret, the teacher from Flight 217, who'd witnessed Claire's rebuke of Ava. Mrs. Evans, I'm addressing staff misconduct at Brooks Airways. Can you confirm what you saw on Flight 217? Margaret's reply was hesitant but clear. I saw Claire mock Ava for helping a grieving woman and an older man. It was wrong. I'll help. Her testimony, though reluctant, was a cornerstone, amplifying the public weight of his case. Nathan's fingers hovered, then texted his liar. Add Margaret's statement to the file. Expect pushback from Claire's allies. The reply was swift. Got it. Building a case. Linda emailed, her subject line urgent. Sophia's complaint details. The document detailed Claire's threats, Laura's complicity, and a deleted review for Ava, signed by Edward. Another email followed an anonymous tip. Claire's group plans to smear Ava if she rises. Check HR logs. Nathan's pulse quickened. The threat against Ava, now a coordinated plot. He remembered his youth, standing beside his mother as attendants ignored her, her worn coat, a silent judgment. They'll test you, she'd said, but you're stronger than their lies. That strength fueled him now, his plan crystallizing. Confront Claire's clique at the meeting, reveal his identity, and demand reform. The social media storm grew. Sarah, a local reporter, posting, Brooks Airways faces boycott over unfair service. Sources say internal corruption runs deep. Her article, fueled by the viral posts, was gaining traction. Comments praising Ava's kindness, but slamming Claire's attitude. Nathan texted Claire's supervisor. Pull Claire's radio logs from Flight 217. The response confirmed the manager's order. Focus on VIPs. The board's pressure loomed, Linda texting. Media circling. Sarah's digging. You've got one. Shot. Nathan's resolve hardened. He'd save his airline, not just for profit, but for Emily, Thomas, and Ava. Jack texted, his message brief. Found a log. Claire bribed a junior to skip Ava's review. Sharing soon. Nathan stood, the cities. Dawn a canvas of possibility. Margaret's testimony. Sophia's complaint. Jack's evidence. They were his arsenal. Claire, Laura, and Edward thought they'd won, but they'd misjudged their target. Nathan thought of his first pitch to William Carter, vowing an airline, where merit ruled. Ava's tea for Emily, her patience with Thomas, with that vision's heart, and he'd protected. The terminal's hum echoed in his mind. Emily's red eyes, Thomas's gratitude, Ava's quiet strength. The meeting loomed, a reckoning for Claire's clique. Nathan Brooks had built Brooks Airways to honor his mother's struggles, to lift passengers and reward employees like Ava. As the Chicago sun rose, he gathered his evidence, his fury channeled into purpose, ready to step into the boardroom and fight for his airline's soul, one truth at a time. The Chicago midday sun streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Brooks Airways headquarters, bathing the 50th floor conference room in a stark golden light. The air buzzed with tension, the hum of whispered conversations mingling with the faint scent of polished wood and fresh coffee. Nathan Brooks stood at the head of the long mahogany table, his polo shirt and jeans a stark contrast to the suited executives, HR directors, and senior flight attendants filling the room. His sharp eyes scanned the crowd, landing on Claire Donovan, her stiff posture and smug smirk betraying no hint of the storm about to break. Folders lay before him, Ava Mitchell's erased reviews, Sophia Carter's complaint, Jack Sullivan's log, Margaret's testimony evidence of a toxic culture Nathan had vowed to end, born from his mother's struggles against dismissive flight attendants decades ago. The room fell silent as Nathan cleared his throat, his presence commanding despite his casual attire. Claire whispered to Greg Turner, her clique's operations ally. "This better be quick." Nathan's gaze hardened. Memories of Flight 217 vivid. Ava's kindness to Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett. Claire's sneer. "You're too soft." The social media storm, with Sarah's article, "Brooks Airways faces boycott over corruption," loomed. The board's texts urgent. Fix this or resign. Nathan had built Brooks Airways from baggage handler to CEO, his scholarship and pitch. To William Cotter forging an airline of fairness. Today, he'd reclaim it. "I took a flight yesterday," Nathan began, his voice calm but lethal. "Unannounced, in economy class." Whispers erupted, Claire's smirk faltering. "You know what I saw?" He paced, his eyes locking on Claire. A young woman, desperate to reach her dying father, overcharged for a last-minute ticket. A widower, lost without his wife, ignored by staff. And one flight attendant, Ava Mitchell, who treated them with dignity, while her colleague mocked. Her for it. Claire shifted, her face paling. Nathan turned to her directly. "You were on that flight, Claire. You called Ava too soft, said she'd never move up. Care to explain?" Claire's mouth opened, then closed, her voice trembling. I was just maintaining efficiency, sir." Nathan's smile was cold. "Efficiency? You prioritize first class. VIPs while economy passengers like Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett suffered." He gestured to HR's Laura Peterson. "Lavra, pull Ava Mitchell's file." Laura hesitated, her hands shaking as she projected the file onto the screen. Gasps filled the room. 10 years of flawless feedback, 0 complaints, multiple rejected. Promotions, all denied by Claire and Greg, with erased reviews signed by Laura and Edward Hayes, operations manager. Nathan tapped the screen, his voice rising. "Ava Mitchell is one of the best employees this airline has. Yet you, Claire, Greg, Laura, Edward, blocked her, erased her reviews, promoted your friends instead." Claire stammered. "Not everyone's leadership material." Nathan leaned forward, his gaze ice. "You promoted underqualified cronies with disciplinary records over her. That's not leadership. That's corruption." The room was deathly silent. Sophia Carter, in the back, her eyes wide, her silenced complaint now vindicated. He turned to Ava, who stood near the door, confused, her navy uniform crisp. "Ava Mitchell, come forward." She obeyed, her heart pounding, unaware of the meeting's purpose. Nathan's voice softened, but carried. "I reviewed your actions on Flight 217. You showed compassion, problem-solving, professionalism, every quality of a leader." The room held its breath as he continued. "Effective immediately, Ava Mitchell is promoted to head of passenger experience, overseeing customer service policies for Brooks Airways." Asterisk, stunned silence gave way to murmurs, Sophia's eyes shining. A few attendants nodding approval. Claire sputtered. "This is absurd. You can't." Nathan cut her off, his voice steel. "You're fired, Claire." Greg stood, furious, but Nathan's glare silenced him. "You too, Greg. Laura, Edward, you're suspended pending investigation." Gasps rippled, HR scrambling to note his orders. HR will audit every promotion from the last 5 years. Nathan declared, "Favoritism ends today." Claire's face burned, her voice shrill. "I'll sue for wrongful termination." Nathan's smile was unyielding. "Try it." "I have Sophia's complaint, Jack Sullivan's log, Margaret's testimony, and your radio logs prioritizing VIPs. The evidence is airtight." He turned to Ava, softer now. "You've earned this. Lead well." Ava's eyes welled, not with fear, but with the weight of being seen. The room stirred, Sarah's article trending online. Brooks Airways CEO goes undercover, fires corrupt staff. Comments flooded. Finally, justice. And Ava's a hero. Nathan addressed the room, his voice resolute. Brooks Airways was built on trust. We failed passengers like Emily and Thomas, employees like Ava and Sophia. Today, we rebuild. He nodded to Sophia, who stood taller, her fear fading. Claire and Greg were escorted out, their power shattered. Ava clutched her badge, her new role a beacon of change. Margaret, watching from the back, nodded, her silence now a quiet immense. Nathan stood firm, the golden light a promise renewed. He'd faced down Claire's clique, but the board's pressure, Sarah's scrutiny, and the audit loomed. His mother's lessons build something better echoed, Emily's red eyes and Thomas's gratitude vivid. Brooks Airways was his vow, and he'd ensure it never failed again, one truth, one leader like Ava at a time. The Chicago afternoon bathed Brooks Airways headquarters in a warm golden glow, the glass skyscraper's windows reflecting the bustling city below. Inside, the executive lounge hummed with a cautious optimism, the scent of fresh coffee mingling with the soft rustle of papers and the murmur of staff. Nathan Brooks stood near a digital feedback board, his casual sweater a quiet contrast to the CEO who just dismantled a toxic clique. Hours ago, he'd revealed his identity, fired Claire Donovan and Greg Turner, suspended Lavra Peterson and Edward Hayes, and promoted Ava Mitchell to head of passenger experience. The airline's heart was beating again, and Nathan was determined to make it a beacon of fairness, honoring his mother's lessons from a childhood marked by dismissive flight attendants. The confrontation had sent shockwaves through Brooks Airways. Claire's exit, her threats of lawsuits echoing, had rattled the staff, but Nathan's mandate reform or face consequences set a new tone. He and Linda, his assistant, had worked through the morning, drafting policies, mandatory empathy, training, anonymous reporting channels, and a merit-based promotion system. The board, once panicked by viral social media posts decrying Brooks' bias, now backed Nathan, their text shifting. Stocks up 1%. Keep it trending. The lounge reflected the change-updated signage promising fairness in every flight. A feedback board glowing with notes like, "Brooks feels human again." Passengers returned, drawn by Sarah's article. Brooks Airways CEO goes undercover, sparks justice. Ava approached, her new badge gleaming, her navy uniform replaced by a tailored blazer, her confidence tentative but growing. "Training scheduled," she said, her voice steady, clutching a tablet with policy drafts. "Staff's ready." "To learn." Nathan smiled, pride swelling. "You're already shaping the future, Ava." She hesitated, then spoke, her tone raw. "I never thought I'd get this chance. Claire's clique made me feel invisible." Nathan nodded, memories of his South Side youth, his mother ignored on flights for her worn coat grounding him. "You're not invisible now," he said. "I'm funding a management course for you. Dream big." Ava's eyes widened, gratitude mingling with resolve. "I'll make you proud," she said, her handshake firm dotted the check-in counter. Sophia Carter, reinstated after Claire's threats, served passengers with a bright smile. Margaret, the teacher from Flight 217, approached, her tea steaming. "You're thriving," she said, her earlier silence now a quiet amends. Sophia nodded, her fear replaced by purpose. "Ava's leading the way," she said, her voice warm. Sarah's article exploded online, comments flooding. "Brooks is back, and Ava's a game changer." Revenue climbed, outpacing sky-high airlines' faltering discounts. Their ads, "Fly Elite, Save More," fading against Brooks' authenticity. Nathan joined a training session in a conference room, the first of many. Ava stood at the front, her voice clear. "I've been ignored, dismissed, targeted," she said, her eyes meeting the staff's. "But passengers like Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett, they're why we're here. We serve, not judge." Sophia spoke next, her tone firm. I reported Claire and got threatened. Now I'm back, and we're rebuilding trust together. Attendants nodded, some tearfully, the room alive with hope. Nathan watched from the back, his chest warm. His vision taking root. The social media storm shifted. Sarah's article drowning out Claire's bitter posts. Brooks is a PR stunt, which gained little traction. A local activist, Daniel, tweeted, Brooks fired bullies, uplifted Ava, and listened. This is leadership. Passengers like a man in a gray coat who'd once boycotted Brooks returned, tipping Sophia generously. Feels different now, he said, his voice kind. But Claire's threats lingered. Linda texting, her lawyers filing. Low chance of winning, but it's noise. Nathan replied, let legal handle it. Focus on reform. He wouldn't let her shadow. Derail progress. Nathan met Ava later, the lounge quieting as the rush eased. You're a natural, he said, gesturing to her tablet. Ava smiled, her confidence growing. My sister saw the article, she said, her voice thick. She's proud. Nathan's thoughts turned to his mother, her hands smoothing his. Cope before their first flight, teaching him dignity amid rejection. Keep her proud, he said. You're building her future. Ava nodded, her dreams management maybe more no longer distant. Margaret lingered, her gaze on Sophia. This place has a heart now, she told her, her words a quiet anchor. Outside, Nathan stood under the neon sign, the city's lights twinkling. Sarah's article, Daniel's tweet, the training, they were proof justice rippled. Revenue soared, Sky High's branches closing. Linda texted, social media's 80% positive. Passengers sharing fair treatment stories. Next, Nathan's reply was simple. Merit audits. No one gets left behind. He thought of Emily's red eyes, Thomas's gratitude, Ava's rise. Brooks Airways was his vow, forged to break the cycles. That scarred his youth, and Ava, Sophia, even the retrained staff were its heart. The lounge glowed, a testament to accountability. Claire's defeat, Ava's promotion, and the staff's awakening weren't perfect, but they were progress. Nathan. Brooks had drawn a line, and Brooks Airways would stand for trust. One flight, one truth at a time. The Chicago evening draped Brooks Airways headquarters in a soft indigo glow. The glass skyscraper's neon sign casting a steady light across the bustling city. Inside, the executive lounge pulsed with a quiet energy, the scent of fresh coffee, mingling with the soft hum of laptops and the murmur of staff finalizing new policies. Nathan Brooks stood near the digital feedback board, his casual sweater a subtle nod to the CEO who'd gone undercover, exposed Claire Donovan's toxic clique, and promoted Ava Mitchell to head of passenger experience. The board glowed with passenger notes. Brooks feels fair now. But Nathan's sharp eyes were fixed on a new threat. An anonymous email had landed in Ava's inbox. You don't belong in leadership. You'll fall. His mother's voice, forged in years of facing dismissive flight attendants, echoed, fix what's broken, but watch for those who break it. The fallout from Claire's firing and Ava's promotion had reshaped Brooks Airways. Empathy training was underway. Anonymous reporting channels buzzed, and passengers like Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett returned, drawn by Sarah's viral article. Brooks Airways CEO sparks justice. Revenue soared, eclipsing Sky High Airlines' fading ads. The board, once skeptical, now hailed Nathan's reforms, texting. Stocks up 2%. Media loves us. But Claire's legal threats lingered, and the anonymous email hinted at a deeper conspiracy. Nathan's youth, watching his mother, a janitor, ignored on flights, had taught him vigilance. He'd risen from baggage handler to CEO, his scholarship, and pitched to William Carter, building an airline of trust. That trust was under attack. Ava entered, her blazer crisp, her tablet glowing with training schedules. "Staff's embracing the changes," she said, her voice steady but strained. Nathan nodded, gesturing to her tablet. "You're leading well, but stay sharp. That email wasn't random." Ava's eyes flickered, the threat's weight evident. "Who'd do this?" she asked, her tone raw. Nathan's gaze was steel. "Claire's allies. Lavra Peterson and Edward Hayes are still here." He'd suspended them, but their influence lingered, a shadow over Ava's rise. Nathan thought of Sophia Carter, reinstated after Claire's threats, and Jack Sullivan, the pilot who'd exposed Claire's bribery. They were allies, but the enemy was moving. Nathan's phone buzzed Linda, found HR logs. Lavra accessed Ava's file post-suspension. His jaw tightened, the sabotage clear. He called Jack, the pilot's voice gruff. "Jack, any chatter on? Lavra or Edward?" Jack's tone was grim. "They're plotting." Heard Edward on a call, talking about fixing Ava's mistake. "I'm recording next time." Nathan's pulse quickened. "Get it to me fast." Jack's nod was audible. "You got it, boss." Nathan texted Sophia. "Watch for anything odd. Report to me." Sophia's reply was swift. "Noticed Laura meeting staff off hours." "I'm on it." The tension escalated at a boardroom briefing. Ava presenting her next reform, a passenger-first training program. Her slides outlined empathy-driven service, inspired by Emily and Thomas. As she clicked to the next slide, a gasp rippled through the room. A fake email appeared, doctored to look like Ava's, claiming she'd bribed staff for reviews. Murmurs erupted, executives shifting uncomfortably. Nathan's eyes narrowed, his voice sharp. "This is a lie." Ava stiffened, her composure intact. "I never wrote this," she said, her tone firm. Nathan turned to cybersecurity. "Trace it now." The room buzzed, Sarah's article trending online. Brooks Airways faces new scandal, internal sabotage. Nathan's mind raced, the email a calculated blow. He remembered his mother, smoothing his coat before their first flight, teaching him to face lies with truth. "Stay focused," he told Ava, his voice low. She nodded, her resolve unbroken. Linda texted. "Trace points to Laura's login. Edward's involved." Nathan's anger flared. Lavra and Edward exploiting their access to smear Ava. He called Jack, who sent a grainy recording. Edward's voice, low and smug. "Plant the email. Make it look like Ava's dirty. She crash." Laura's reply was cold. "No one'll question it. She's nobody." Nathan stood, the recording his trump card. He texted Linda. "Set a private meeting with Laura and Edward. Tomorrow." The board's pressure loomed. A new text. "Scandal's hurting stock. Fix it or we intervene." Sarah's article grew. Comments split. "Ava's innocent. And Brooks is corrupt." Margaret, the teacher, posted online. "I saw Ava's kindness on Flight 217. This is a setup." Her voice, once silent, bolstered Ava's cause. Sophia approached, her badge gleaming. "Staff's rallying for Ava," she said, her voice bright. A new attendant, inspired by her, just joined. Nathan nodded, hope flickering, but the sabotage was a wound. Ava lingered, her tablet dim. "They won't stop, will they?" she asked, her voice soft. Nathan's tone was firm. "They'll try, but we're stronger. You're not alone." He thought of his first pitch to William Carter, vowing an airline where merit ruled. Ava's tea for Emily, her patience with Thomas, were that vow's heart. Jack's recording, Sophia's vigilance, Margaret's post, they were his army. The city's lights glittered, a canvas of possibility. Linda texted. Meeting set. Sarah's digging deeper. Nathan's resolve hardened. He'd trap Laura and Edward, protect Ava, and save his airline. The lounge glowed, a sanctuary of change. Ava's leadership, Sophia's courage, and the staff's awakening were proof justice worked. Nathan Brooks had faced Claire's clique, but Lavera and Edward's plot was a new battle. His mother's struggles, Emily's grief, Thomas's gratitude, they were why he fought. Brooks Airways was his legacy, and he'd ensure it stood for trust, one truth, one fight at a time. Inside, the executive boardroom thrummed with tension, the scent of polished wood and fresh coffee undercut by the weight of an impending decision. Nathan Brooks stood near the floor-to-ceiling windows, his casual sweater a quiet contrast to the CEO who'd gone undercover, exposed Claire Donovan's toxic clique, and promoted Ava Mitchell to head of passenger experience. His sharp eyes scanned the room, where executives and North Star Airlines delegation, led by Richard Vaughn, gathered to discuss a merger that could erase Ava's reforms. Nathan's mother's voice, forged through years of dismissal on flights, echoed, "Build something better, and fight to keep it." The boardroom's sleek table gleamed under harsh lights. Folders detailing the merger stacked neatly. Ava's department passenger experience was on the chopping block, North Star prioritizing profit over empathy. Nathan's reforms, empathy training, anonymous reporting, merit-based promotions had revitalized Brooks Airways, with revenue soaring past sky-high airlines' crumbling chain. Sarah's article, "Brooks Airways Justice Sparks Revival," trended. Comments praising Ava's leadership. Finally, an airline that cares. But Claire's legal threats lingered, and Laura Peterson and Edward Hayes' sabotage exposed. By Jack Sullivan's recording had shaken the board, their texts urgent, mergers critical. "Don't lose this." Ava entered, her blazer crisp, her tablet glowing with data from her passenger-first program. "Staff's ready for the next training phase," she said, her voice steady but tense. The anonymous threat, "You'll fall still." Fresh. Nathan nodded, pride swelling. "You're the heart of this, Ava." She smiled, but her eyes flickered with worry. "What if the merger kills it all?" Nathan's tone was firm. "It won't. You've got to use it." He thought of his youth, his mother's worn coat a badge of resilience, teaching him to fight for fairness. Ava's kindness to Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett had secured deals with William Carter and Thomas's union. Proof her work was power. The North Star delegation arrived. Richard Vaughn at the helm, his tailored suit and cold smile exuding ruthless efficiency. Executives settled, murmurs fading as Vaughn opened. "Brooks has potential," he said, his voice smooth, "but passenger experience is a cost sink. We'd streamline it." Ava stiffened, her jaw tight. Nathan's gaze hardened, but he remained silent, signaling Ava to act. She stood, uninvited, her presence commanding. "I'm Ava Mitchell, head of passenger experience," she said, her tone calm but unyielding. "This merger affects my work. I'd like to know what happens to my department." Vaughn barely glanced up, his smile thin. "Your efforts are admirable, Miss Mitchell, but they don't align with our financial goals." Ava's eyes didn't waver. "Financial goals?" "My program secured a $50 million investment from William Carter and a union contract from Thomas Bennett. That's revenue, not cost." The room shifted, executives murmuring. Vaughn's smile tightened, his voice patronizing. "We can replicate those results without your department." Ava leaned forward, her voice sharp. "You can't. Fake trust. You can't force staff to care like I did for a grieving daughter or a widower. Erase my department, and those deals vanish." Nathan smirked, stepping in. "She's right. I spoke with William Carter and Thomas Bennett this morning. They're only with Brooks because of Ava's policies." He placed a signed contract on the table, his voice steady. "Carter's investing $50 million, conditional on Ava staying. Bennett's union contract is the same." Vaughn's face darkened, the room silent. Sophia Carter, in the back, nodded, her reinstated role a testament to Ava's influence. Sarah's article trended higher, comments flooding. Ava's saving Brooks. Margaret's post, I saw Ava's kindness on Flight 217, bolstered her case. Vaughn adjusted his tie, his voice strained. We'll reconsider our strategy. By day's end, the merger was restructured, preserving passenger experience and expanding Ava's authority. Nathan met Ava later, the boardroom empty. You were fearless, he said, his tone warm. Ava exhaled, her tablet dim. I thought I'd lose everything. Nathan's gaze was steady. You saved it, and you're not done. He handed her an email from his mother, pinned to his office board. You honored our struggle, son. This is why we fight, he said. Ava nodded, her resolve firm. Sophia approached, her badge gleaming. Staff's inspired, she said, her voice bright. A new attendant, Rachel, joined because of Ava. Nathan smiled, the airline's heart beating strong. An email from Linda arrived. Board's thrilled. Merger's a win. Your mother's email's viral. Nathan's chest warmed, his mother's lessons alive in Ava's triumph. Margaret lingered, her tea cold. You're building a legacy, she told Ava, her words a quiet anchor. Sarah's article soared. Sky High's ads gone, their branches shuttered. Nathan stood under the neon sign, the city's lights a canvas of hope. Linda texted, social media's 90% positive. Rachel's story's trending. Next? Nathan's reply was resolute. Expand Ava's program. Lift more Rachels. Brooks Airways was his vow, forged to break cycles of injustice, and Ava, Sophia, and Rachel were its future. One flight, one truth at a time. The Chicago dawn bathed Brooks Airways headquarters in a soft rose gold glow, the glass skyscraper's neon sign shimmering against the morning mist. Inside, the executive lounge pulsed with a vibrant hum, the scent of fresh coffee weaving through the soft chime of a service bell and the chatter of staff preparing for a community event. Nathan Brooks leaned against a digital feedback board, his casual sweater a testament to the CEO who'd gone undercover, exposed Claire Donovan's toxic clique, and promoted Ava Mitchell to head of passenger experience. The board glowed with passenger notes. Brooks changed my life. A reflection of the airline's renewal. Nathan's sharp eyes followed Ava, now mentoring Sophia Carter, and Rachel, a new attendant inspired by Ava's rise. His mother's voice, forged through years of dismissal on flights, echoed, build something better and let it grow. Brooks Airways had reshaped the industry's landscape. Sarah's viral article, Daniel's social media advocacy, and Nathan's reforms, empathy training, anonymous reporting, merit-based promotions had drawn passengers away from Sky High Airlines' shuttered terminals. Revenue soared, and the board, once wary, now championed Nathan's vision. Texting. Industries watching. Scale it. Margaret, the teacher from Flight 217, sat at a corner table, her tea steaming, her gray hair catching the light. She'd brought her community college students, their notebooks open, inspired by Brooks' story of justice. You're shaping hearts, she told Sophia, her voice warm. Sophia smiled, her reinstatement a spark of the airline's rebirth. Nathan approached Ava at a planning table, her badge gleaming. The event's set, she said, her tablet glowing with outreach plans. We're teaching financial literacy to low-income travelers, like my family once was. Nathan nodded, memories of his South Side childhood, his mother counting pennies for bus fare, grounding him. I'll fund it, he said, leaning closer. You lead it, Ava. Make it yours. Ava's eyes shone, her dream taking root. I won't let you down, she said, her voice thick. Nathan's tone was firm. You're already soaring. He thought of his mother, her lessons of dignity amid rejection, and knew Ava's heart was his vision's core. Sophia joined them, her confidence bright. Rachel's training fast, she said, gesturing to the new attendant. She wants to be like Ava. Nathan smiled, pride swelling. Guide her, he said. You're a leader now. Sophia nodded, her fear of Claire's threats gone. Rachel, barely 20, approached, her eyes wide. I read about you, Ava, she said, her voice shy. You made me believe I could do this. Ava's chest warmed, her impact tangible. Nathan thought of his scholarship days, pitching Brooks Airways to William Carter, vowing fairness. Rachel's dream, Ava's outreach, they were that vow's legacy. The community event unfolded that evening. The lounge transformed with string lights, tables laden with travel guides, and a banner, empowering Chicago flyers. Ava spoke, her voice clear. I was overlooked, told I didn't belong, she said, her eyes meeting the crowds. But passengers like Emily Harper and Thomas Bennett taught me why we serve. We're here to lift you up, Sophia followed, her tone warm. Brooks failed people like me, but we're changing that. Learn with us, grow with us. A student from Margaret's class, Lily, approached Ava, her notebook clutched. I want to work here, she said, her eyes bright. Because of you. Ava's heart swelled, her purpose alive. Margaret lingered, her tea cold, her gaze on Sophia. You're a role model, she told her, her words a quiet anchor. Sophia nodded, her resolve firm. A former attendant, silenced by Claire, had returned. Now thriving under Ava's mentorship, her reinstatement a symbol of reconciliation. Sarah posted about the event online. Brooks Airways Community Night redefines airlines. Ava's leading a movement. Comments poured in sign me. Up, and Brooks is hope. Cementing the airline's new legacy. Nathan's phone buzzed Linda. Events trending. Boards pushing for a scholarship program. He smiled, replying, green-lighted. Name it after my mother. His mother's email, pinned to his office board. You honored our struggles. Son was a beacon. Rachel served a passenger, her demeanor warm, her training reflecting Ava's influence. A customer in a brown coat, once a sky-high loyalist, opened an account, nodding at Sophia. This feels right, he said, his voice firm. The event ended. The lounge quieting, but its energy lingered. Lily stayed, her notebook filled with Ava's advice, her dream of aviation alive. Nathan stood under the neon sign, the city's lights a tapestry of possibility. Linda texted, social media is 95% positive. Lily's post about Ava's viral. Next? Nathan's reply was resolute. Expand outreach. Empower more Lilies. He thought of Emily's grief, Thomas's gratitude, Ava's courage. Brooks Airways wasn't just an airline. It was a movement, breaking cycles of injustice. The lounge glowed, a sanctuary of second chances. Ava and Sophia weren't just staff. They were architects of a future where fairness thrived. Nathan. Brooks had reshaped his corner of the world. Not perfectly, but enough to inspire. One flight, one dream at a time. Nathan Brooks stood near the digital feedback board, his casual sweater a quiet echo of the CEO who'd gone undercover. Exposed Claire Donovan's toxic clique and promoted Ava Mitchell to head of passenger experience, now vice president of passenger relations. The board glowed with passenger notes. Brooks gave me hope. A testament to an airline reborn. Nathan's sharp eyes traced Ava, mentoring Sophia Carter and Rachel, their badges gleaming, and Lily, a new trainee inspired by Ava's journey. His mother's voice, forged through years of dismissal on flights, echoed, build something better, and let it soar. Brooks Airways had become an industry beacon. Sarah's viral article, Daniel's social media crusade, and Nathan's reforms, empathy training, anonymous reporting, merit-based promotions had set a standard, with rival airlines adopting similar policies. Sky High Airlines, once a taunting competitor, had shuttered its last terminal. its profit-driven model no match for Brooks' heart. Revenue soared, and the board, once skeptical, now hailed Nathan's vision. Texting, "Global airlines want your playbook." Margaret, the teacher from Flight 217, sat at her corner table, her tea steaming, her gray hair catching the light. She'd brought her students, their notebooks filled with Brooks' story, their presence a testament to its reach. "You've built a movement," she told Nathan, her voice rich with pride. Nathan approached Sophia, her confidence radiant. "Rachel and Lily are thriving," she said, gesturing to the trainees. "Your mentorship program's working." Nathan nodded, memories of his Southside childhood, his mother's worn coat, her resilience against sneering attendants grounding him. "You're the backbone, Sophia," he said. "Keep lifting them." Sophia's eyes shone, her reinstatement. A spark of justice. Rachel, serving a passenger, smiled warmly, her training reflecting Ava's influence. A customer in a blue coat, once a sky-high loyalist, opened an account, nodding at Sophia. "This feels like trust," he said, his voice firm at an international aviation conference. Nathan stood before a packed auditorium, his voice resonant. Brooks failed its passengers. Emily Harper, Thomas Bennett ignored while clicks thrived. We listened, acted, rebuilt. Empathy isn't the cost. It's our strength. The room erupted in applause. Executives scribbling notes, inspired to audit their own cultures. A young manager approached Nathan after, her voice eager. "Your story changed my airline's policies," she said. Nathan's smile echoed his. "Mother's lessons. Start with trust," he told her. "It's everything." He thought of his scholarship days, pitching Brooks Airways to William Carter, vowing fairness. That vow now soared globally. Back at Brooks, Ava led a community workshop, her voice clear. "We serve people, not profits," she said, her eyes meeting Lily's. "Every passenger deserves dignity." Lily, clutching her notebook, nodded, her dream of aviation alive. Margaret's students lingered, one posting online, "Brooks Airways' story is justice in action." Linda emailed Nathan, "You gave us hope," echoing his mother's pinned note. "You honored our struggles." Ava approached, her badge gleaming. "The scholarship program's live," she said, her voice thick. "Named for your mother. It's helping Rachel's sister study aviation." Nathan's chest warmed, his legacy complete. Nathan stood under the neon sign, the city's lights a canvas of dreams. Linda texted, "Conference speech trending. Industry shifting. Next?" Nathan's reply was firm. "Expand scholarships. Lift more lilies." He thought of Emily's grief, Thomas's gratitude, Ava's courage. Brooks wasn't just an airline. It was a movement, breaking cycles of injustice. Ava, Sophia, Rachel, and Lily were its heart. Proof accountability triumphed. The lounge glowed, a sanctuary of trust, and Nathan Brooks had rebuilt his corner of the world, not perfectly, but enough to inspire, one flight, one truth at a time. Nathan Brooks' story is a testament to empathy, proving leadership thrives on compassion and accountability. It champions humanistic values. Every person deserves dignity. Every injustice demands action, and every system can evolve through courage. Nathan's Undercover Flight, exposing Claire's clique, uplifting Ava and Sophia, rebuilding Brooks Airways, shows fairness is a choice, forged in resolve and trust. His actions echo a truth. Airlines aren't just businesses. They're communities where empathy transforms lives. The lessons are universal. First, empathy drives justice. Nathan's past fueled his fight for change. Second, leadership lifts others. Mentoring Ava and Sophia built a stronger future. Third, every voice matters. Margaret's testimony, Sarah's reporting, Jack's evidence shaped Brooks' rebirth. Finally, Accountability redeems. Ava's rise and Claire's fall. Prove growth is possible. This story challenges us. How do you confront injustice in your world? Share your experiences below. Have you stood up for fairness? Your story could spark change. If Brooks' journey inspired you, join Legacy Stories for more tales of justice, resilience, and humanity. Subscribe, hit the bell, and become part of a community celebrating legacies that shape us. Thank you for reading, and we'll see you in the next story.